Dude, I love having you here. The last time you were here, this didn't work. We've been having these tech issues because I have no staff.
Yeah.
It's like me. I'm like the camera guy. I set everything up.
I don't know if you texted when I got home or what it was, but
I was so bummed.
We had like the craziest conversation, the wildest stuff, and it was just left right here in this room.
Jesus was like, it's too early for this to be released.
Yeah.
The people aren't ready for it. It was. Because Sarah went straight for Book of Enoch stuff, as she always does.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's crazy stuff going on.
There's a lot of...
in the world.
Yeah. I don't know.
And I feel like Christians are like, let's vote Trump in. And I'm like, but there's aliens landing. Like there's space vehicles that we don't know where they're from. Right. We're not talking about that.
How are we not talking about that? Do you know, have you watched the recent Senate hearing? Or, not Senate, but I think it was in Congress.
Yes. I've seen pieces of it.
Elizondo was there, who was like deeply intriguing.
Oh, sure.
He was the guy, I don't know if we talked about this already, but he was the guy, I'll never forget this, in 2020.
Yeah.
Pandemic, chaos, slipped.
Yes.
There was an article that slipped through the cracks from a couple different...
It's like the New York Times,
It was the New York Times, yeah. New York Times.
It was one of the first main media articles on it. Other than like the National Enquirer or those things where it's like...
the Star.
Yeah.
But he goes...
Remember those at the grocery store?
Totally.
They're always there?
Yeah,
no, he's like, I'm not curious. I'm not going to buy one.
Brad Pitt is a lizard.
Right,
you know,
exactly. Like, I knew it.
Yeah. But dude, I never forget. It was this article that said, first of all, the Pentagon they're releasing, declassifying. We have crafts. We don't know what they are.
Yeah.
But then Lou Elizondo, he goes, he's a CIA director. He's high up.
Yeah,
in
he was
CIA.
way up there.
He finds these articles of every day. Legitimate, bona fide pilots are they're seeing things that they cannot explain.
Yeah. And they're captured on radar.
Captured on radar.
Not just the pilots.
Not exactly.
Saying it.
It's what do they call it? It's like it has the word like they can calculate it and like there's numbers to it, you know.
Yeah.
But he goes to his director because he's finding file after file. He goes to his director and he goes, what's all this stuff?
Yeah.
I never forget according to this story.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's a CIA. He's a bona fide history in the CIA, government employee. The director goes. Long story short, you're like, you don't want to look at that. We know what that is. It's not worth your time. So he presses him a little bit, and the director goes, "It's not just aliens. We have reason to believe that they're transdimensional." And he used the word transdimensional.
That was the word he used.
Demons. That was what he said. This is a CIA. So you could take that as, all right. I mean, they're crazy.
Yeah.
Lou's crazy. Who knows? But bona fide news outlets are reporting this.
Did you hear about? I heard that Tucker Carlson. This was a while back. Not a long time ago, within this year, but apparently he did some kind of interview. It was never aired, but he got some kind of information from some of these high-up CIA guys.
Yeah.
And whatever they told him freaked him out. Did you hear that?
I heard that.
Or was it like he wouldn't tell his wife, or
Doesn't want to tell his wife?
He was just like for days. He was just kind of like depressed and like freaked out on whatever they told him. I think you can't quote me, but I think it had something to do with transdimensional. They've basically said we know what they are, and we know what their motives are, and there's nothing we can do about it. And they told him more than that, but whatever it was, he was shaken up.
Right. There's so many questions that are they beings that are like biological beings like us, or are they spirit? Are they demonic? And how far back do you go?
Right.
Do you go Nephilim?
Yeah.
Do you go,
This is why I love you. This is how we talk like out at the restaurant. It's just we have microphones in front of us.
Right.
And our wives aren't here to roll their eyes.
Exactly.
Because my wife, Sarah, will go all in on interdimensional, supernatural Book of Enoch.
Yeah.
But when I start to talk about aliens, she's like, all right, I'm done. This is X-Files.
Right.
I got to get her on the alien page. But, the whole like trans-dimensional beings thing, it sounds so weird and out there, but it's actually, biblically speaking, it's like, yeah, of course.
I know.
That's what we've been saying they are.
Yeah.
That's what the Bible has. The whole Bible is about interdimensional beings interacting with each other.
Right.
And how we play into that story as humans.
Exactly.
So it's so simple to me.
It seems simple. At the very least, it seems like something.
Understanding it and being okay with the fact that, yeah, we're being visited by interdimensional beings.
Yeah.
So at the altar, and Peter Bruno, your pastor, spoke last time. We got into this place of worship towards the end of worship where there was angelic activity. And you're familiar with that, but there were wings. I could almost hear the wings.
Yeah.
There were other voices singing. And so those are interdimensional beings that were in our worship service.
Precisely.
So in those settings, I'm like, I get it. I totally get it.
Right. It feels like, I mean, maybe there's probably way more people that are comfortable with this than we know, but it's like we're comfortable in a sanctuary with someone playing piano and singing to Jesus and saying, "Oh, there's angels here." Or transdimension,
Yeah. That's
cool, but we're not comfortable if it's outside of the four walls talking about it of a church. Then it becomes like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory.
Right.
Like you're a freak,
Yeah, if it's in our box, it works.
Yeah.
But what do you think is going on, like on the world stage with it? Do you think that we're moving towards a fake disclosure in order to draw many astray? Oh, see, we're all children of aliens. They just seeded the earth 2 billion years ago. They just created us. They're just scientists.
Yeah, right.
But they're really, interdimensional fallen angels. Yeah. And it's a huge deception. Like, what do you personally think? The beauty of this is there's no wrong answer.
Right. Off the bat, my first thought is, I really think on a societal, on a political, on a just a global, it feels like we're edging towards this, like, if we're not in it, we're edging towards a climax moment, this like pivot point in history. And
I agree with that completely.
I don't want to go in all these directions, but AI, technology, all these crazy things. And to me, I feel like humanity, we're going towards this climax point, and I feel like the supernatural is engaging, and they're paying attention, and the energy in the invisible realm is increasing as we are increasing in our realm. And I think I would argue that, or I would propose the thought that at different pivot points in history, I think that the supernatural has interacted with the natural on a higher, greater scale.
Absolutely.
And if you want to go here, if you want to, like, with the alien thing and the UFOs, they say that during World War II, and when they were testing nuclear bombs and developing nuclear bombs, there was an increase of sightings, of UFO sightings and different, like, weird...
Well, Roswell is where we stored the nuclear weapons. Did you know that?
Yeah.
And
that is like... It's Roswell.
It's Roswell, of course. We all know about Roswell. We all know the truth about what happened. At least you and I do.
Yeah.
No, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like the supernatural realm recognizes, things are going on with humanity.
Yeah.
Even in technological advances, and they're becoming more involved.
Right.
I see that.
If if you want to take it to, like, a Christian understanding, like, we understand, and we have this conception that you could say angels, heaven, but like angels, you feel angelic activity. They draw close to an anointing.
Yes.
So, like, when you're having a great worship set, when you're speaking and the anointing is there, that's when you start feeling activity.
Yeah, exactly.
How crazy? Like, wouldn't that stand up in on a global macro level?
Yes.
When there's an increase of anointing or whatever, just spiritual energy.
Yes.
Would it not be that the same thing that happens in a church service happens on a global scale?
Yeah, yeah.
I would think so.
I think so. Absolutely. I tend to think the enemy is. This is just me. I think there is a large deception that is being planned by the enemy as part of all this.
Yeah.
In what I said specifically, because I think humanity has never been more we've never had more answers, but then we've never been more hungry. Those answers are not answering what we want them to answer. We have more questions, I feel like.
Right.
So I feel like what may be happening is that there's a deceptive answer to the question of, it's all the questions. It's, are we alone? Who created us? What is the purpose of life? What happens after life? There's a deceptive answer that's going to come to the earth, possibly in the form of beings from another planet or even another dimension, saying, here's all your answers. Here's who created you. Here's where you're from. The Muslims had a piece of it. Islam had a piece of it. Christianity had a piece of understanding. Judaism did. But here's really what it is. It's all science. You were all created. Yeah. We seeded the earth. Here's all your answers. Now all get along under one global religion, which is really no religion. It's really science.
Right.
And then you have AI in the midst of that also, and even what really is cyborg technology, where you have humans and technology. Now you don't even have humans anymore. You have humans who are part technological. Oh, man. So I see that like that was a lot. But I see some kind of big setup like that to actually remove the spiritual.
Yeah.
And to give answers in the name of science, when in fact the opposite is true. It's all spiritual.
I love this.
We're all spirit beings. We know that about us, just biblically speaking. I think it's all spirit beings who are gonna say it's all science, and try to give the answers in the mind. That's gonna cause a massive deception, even to most of the church.
Yeah,
if I can be honest, because I think without a deep level of discerning of spirits and then understanding of the voice of the Holy Spirit, we don't stand a chance. Against something like that.
Yeah.
So that's some of my take.
For sure.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
And it's like how AI fits into it too. Do you think we're headed 100%. Towards chips in people's heads and people like actual human DNA to a time where, let me say it like this, where if someone is actually 100% human without technology implanted in them or their DNA changed, it's like, wow, they're one of the odd ones. Wow, you're actually all human? Yeah. You're one of those? I think we're headed there, man.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
We're all, in a lot of ways, and this has been said before, but we're already there. You know what Elon says is he goes, we're already cyborgs. It's just the processing speed is not where it's going to be.
Yeah.
So it's like right now processing is your thumbs. Yeah. But in 10 years, like if you can think about the Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah.
You know the thing you put.
Yeah.
Why would you not put that in your brain?
Right.
I mean,
I've told
awesome.
my kids this. As my kids are now, I'm getting texts from my girls, which is a weird thing. Wait till it happens to you. When your kids start, your phone's like ding, and it's your daughter. You're like, my little girl who was in a crib.
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago, it feels like. But anyway, so they're getting into technology, and they're like, even the way they almost don't type anymore because everything with my kids now is voice to text. Whereas when I first had phone, it was flip phone with like beep 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 to get the T, beep beep beep, like 3 pushes per letter.
Totally.
So even in the past 15 years, the way we interact with the devices has changed. To where they're like, I don't want to type it. Okay, they just, hey Siri, blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Why would that not?
And the next step is
right
you
here.
think it.
It's right here.
And then you pull stuff up and you can see it.
And you can see it. Totally.
What does that do for like test taking and you can't, how can you prove that anyone knows anything?
How can you prove that anyone knows anything?
How can you prove that the doctor who's doing surgery on you isn't watching it on YouTube to figure out how to do it? Right? Or
there is something to be said for there's I thought about this phrase like corrosive comfort.
Yeah.
Where it's like we're entering into this place where we're killing ourselves.
Yeah.
We're working ourselves out of a job.
Yeah.
And we're almost like I'm trying to think of the right phrase, like obsoleting ourselves.
Yeah.
We're making ourselves obsolete. That's the best way to say it.
Yeah.
Making ourselves obsolete in this desire to just, this is cool. Oh my, look at it, it can do this now. And,
Right.
You know.
And what are we going to do? What are humans going to do?
I think, in the pursuit of like knowledge and technology and innovation, it just seems I think there's two paths. I think we will there's either a dystopian like cyberpunk, just terrible Blade Runner 2077 type future.
Yeah.
Or there is a Black Panther type future where nature and technology are
That's a very good way to
beautifully integrated together.
Perfect movie analogies.
Yeah, right.
No, right? That's exactly right.
I watched it. A lot of people didn't love that movie. I loved it just for that reason. I like the way that they married.
Can I be honest with you? That's what I think early civilizations actually had.
Oh my God.
Literally Black Panther, it's the marriage of technology and nature.
Yeah.
In the ways that they move these 1,200-ton rocks. There had to be technology.
You're saying everything I've been thinking about for the past 7 days.
Of course.
In this.
I mean, they didn't roll a 1,200-ton rock on logs miles from the quarry. It just didn't happen. There had to be some technology, but it's different than what we have.
The pyramids are aligned with celestial bodies.
We're all over the map.
We're all over the map.
It's because we need to do this once a month.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. It's good though. You're right.
I know. I'm trying to think of what to stick to.
Well, okay. Go. Tell me your thoughts on the deception.
Okay, yeah.
Because you can be like, no, I think that's totally wrong. But I think they're trying to. I think the enemy's plan in all this is to remove the spiritual understanding.
Yeah.
So that he can actually make a run for men's souls, is what I believe.
Yeah. I think
so. Tell me what you think.
That is 100%. I could see that as a part of what's happening.
Yeah.
I also think if you want to, this is not a new direction. This is married to what you're saying.
Yeah.
There is, if you plug into the tinfoil hat community and really like the depths of the rabbit holes, there's a technocracy that they're trying to.
Ooh, come on.
To like birth into
Go there.
And so
that's good.
I think. Written into if we go there, if you want to go here, written into written into their plan. Is to take human beings, make us like cyborg to then you have to reintroduce the Bill of Rights, because then how do you? It's every man is created equal, but then it's a whole new world that we're living in.
You're right.
Moreover, there's obviously
all men are created equal. Well, they're not all men anymore.
They're not all men anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of written in, and it's
manifesto. By the way, is what you that was the word.
Yes. Oh,
I blanked on it also when you said it.
Oh my God, you just nailed it. Their manifesto.
The Technocratic Manifesto.
Technocratic.
That's the name of this episode. 100%. Daniel Rosa, if you're listening to this, I know you're gonna. We're shouting out to Daniel. I feel like Daniel can roll with this type of stuff. Yeah. Daniel is one of our friends, by the way. No one knows. He can roll with this, but he doesn't want everyone to know that he does. Prove me wrong, Daniel. There's a third seat right here.
But that's what they're saying is this: instead of democracy, we're going technocracy. So Silicon Valley will be dictating society, which how have they not already?
Pretty much happening,
So and it's all. Then you go new world order, which is really kind of the core thing here.
But that's what we're both saying.
The core thing is this technocracy is to push this AI technological cyborg revolution that makes us all kind of almost subhuman, and where the elite class will have the money to have the chip and have different body parts and all that, but there'll be a subordinate lower class that just, we can't afford that. I can't.
Yeah.
You could barely afford an iPhone right now.
Right.
This is total rabbit hole stuff, but
do you feel like it's linked in with the interdimensional visitations of either whatever you want to call them, fallen angels, demonic entities? Is that also linked? Is there like a master plan that all of this is a part of? Do you think it's linked, or do you think they're separate things? I personally think it's linked. I
was gonna say I would probably argue that it's linked. You could get into the abortion argument too, which a lot of people talk about the blood sacrifice.
Yeah.
Talk about the adrenochrome. You talk about is there an elite class that is in communication or relationship?
Right.
Maybe, if you...
I mean, that's been conspiracy theory for decades.
Yeah.
Like the Nordics, right?
Yeah.
The Nordic aliens have been... What did they meet? They came and met with President Eisenhower in the 50s. There's all sorts of... And that's when UFOs started to show up over the White House.
Yeah.
So those ideas go back a long way.
Yeah. I mean, back to if you want to go to Moloch, who was perhaps a demon, a transdimensional demon,
Right.
So,
and child sacrifice.
Child sacrifice, They would sacrifice children on the altar of Moloch.
Yes.
And so you go, to me, I believe the Bible.
Yeah.
And I lean more towards the Bible is more... I buy into the supernatural components of the Bible.
Absolutely.
Not so much just an effigy of an owl.
Absolutely.
I would argue if you're going to believe that there's angels and Nephilim and all this stuff.
You kind of have to, though. You can't just pick and choose.
You can't pick and choose.
You can't just read the book of James and be like, I'm biblically literate. You have to look at Genesis 6 and do something with that.
Totally. Oh, you just sparked another thought. I'm going to save that, but...
Put a pin in it.
Yeah. You really have to buy wholesale into the supernatural beings that are written into the Bible. Because if not, it's just a history of us. Right. It's just a history of us being stupid and worshiping wooden and brass images,
Right.
I don't know. I believe Elijah ran faster than a chariot.
Yes, absolutely.
So anyway,
and here's another thought. We've talked before about like the Greek gods. I just was in Turkey with Benjamin and Peter and those guys at all of these places where there are we went to all the 7 churches of Revelation where there are these humongous. They're ruins now, but these humongous temples to all of these gods, to Diana, Artemis, and Zeus, all of that. And I am absolutely convinced, even more after that trip, that the manifestation of those demons was through the Greek mythology and the gods in that time.
Yeah.
And I am convinced that the way it's going to happen now in our time is through this merging of technology and interdimensional / alien visitors. It the same way. Like, no one's going to buy that the Greek god Zeus is standing there with leaves in his hair and all that today, but they would buy something coming down from a spaceship.
Yeah.
Saying we're interdimensional travelers and we're going to solve all of Earth's problems. Bow to us.
For sure. And
so it's the same thing packaged in a way that people will buy into, which is part of the deception.
Totally. And so going back to that, the deception, it's like, you think about, again, at the turning points of history, the Greeks were one of the greatest civilizations ever. The Romans.
Right.
The Romans have their own whole
for sure
deity system.
Yeah.
And of course, if you want to tie back in the pyramids, the Egyptians.
Yes. Same thing.
That god system is insane.
Yeah.
They have crazy Osiris and
Ra and all of those.
Perhaps tying back, could it be that there have been deceptions that of where they say we're here to help you guys out
that actually caused the fall of those civilizations.
Exactly. It was built on sinking sand, so to speak, not on the solid rock.
Yeah.
It's these other forms of supernatural interaction.
And could it be that that's why God over and over and over and over and over and over 200 times warns against idolatry?
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Through ancient Israel, obviously through the Old Testament, even in the New Testament, even the tenets of Christianity now are to set ourselves apart and remain holy and don't worship other gods. And maybe we always think God is just, he's just this rule setter. I guess he just is jealous and prideful and only wants to be worshipped himself. What if it's actually for protection?
Wow.
Of entire societies?
Yeah.
To say, I know what can happen. Worship me only.
Yes.
I cannot let any idolatry in whatsoever because I know what it leads to. For your own good. Don't have other gods. It's sobering to think of it like that.
It is sobering. You know what's crazy? As a side note, it's like this conversation is unbelievable. I love that we get to do it. We plumb the depths of the Spirit.
Yes.
In a worship service.
Yeah.
Prophesy wild things. But to me, this is also that. This is also plumbing the depths of,
for sure,
seeking out, searching the deep things.
Yeah. Well, because there's a lot of the body has no supernatural language or understanding.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Right? I mean, you travel a lot too. We're mostly in similar circles with that, but
yeah.
A lot of the body of Christ does not have any, not even language, but just they don't know what to do with supernatural. They'll read the stories and understand, okay, that happened back then. An angel showed up and did this or that or the other. But there is no space or context for that to happen today, like on a Sunday morning.
Right. And I think that's part of the deception, is it not? Like,
I think so,
to get super comfortable with Christianese and what we find to be suitable for our spiritual journey. I really think that there is people like you and people like me and people like my dad.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Steve Swanson. Oh my goodness.
Who are like willing and able to go beyond the boundary lines.
Yeah. And
I think the deception partly is to lean into the wisdom of the current age instead of, somebody said recently, like, recency does not dictate reliability.
That's good.
And it's the ancient wisdom that really you can depend on and lean on. But I think to do that, recency as in 50 years ago, but also like up to 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
There's garbage that we've adopted and kept.
Yeah.
That's actually bastardized, if I could use that word. It's bastardized the ancient, the eternity that God placed within us.
Yeah.
And that's why we have so much weird stuff going on in our world, is because we've leaned and adopted a false spirit or a false religion instead of, and we have bastardized the eternal part, that sonship, that part of ourselves that cries out Abba.
Yeah.
That's still crying out, but we've actually turned a deaf ear to it, and in favor of being comfortable. Yeah. And in rejecting, like, what we're talking about, like, could it be plumbing the depths of that? Yeah. That's part of the deception. I think we are in it. You look at, like, I've heard it said that what is it? It's subtle tyranny. I'm going to butcher this, but subtle tyranny is, like, the most dangerous. If I know you're the bad guy, that's okay. Right. You can throw me in jail and I can figure it out and develop, like, I can deepen myself. If I don't know that this is a prison and you're my friend, but you're actually the the guard keeper or the prison guard. Yeah,
for sure.
That's the worst kind. And I think we've slipped into that in so many different ways. Yeah. On a spiritual, emotional, and even a societal level. Yeah.